Back with another one. All praise and thanks be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds and creator of the universe. I like to say I love my mother, I love my father, I love our son, and I have love for the mother of our son. We're going to title this video today, Is the Marin County Sheriff's Office tax exempt? No. So here we have a letter from the IRS Department of Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, tax exempt, and government entities. Dated September 24th, 2022. Dear Sir or Madam, we're responding to your request dated September 24th, 2022 about the tax exempt status of Marin County Sheriff's Office. We have no record of this organization having tax exempt status under Internal Revenue Code Section 501A. Therefore, we're unable to provide any documents in response to your request. And below is information that could help you obtain tax exempt statuses of different entities for your inquiries. I'm going to go a little slow here so you could pause the video right here and then go back, pause it. So I'll go into a few of the tax crimes by the IRS. I've done that with the Marin County Council as well. They're not tax exempt. And we're looking at the implications of the sheriff not being tax exempt. So we have, you could look this up in the IRS manual or the code, Cornell law. Conspiracy to fraud the government claims, false and fictitious or fraudulent claims, conspiracy to commit offense or to defraud U.S., public money, property, or records, mail fraud, frauds and swindles, fraud by wire, radio, or television, bank fraud, mail fraud, attempted conspiracy, laundering of monetary instruments, prohibition of illegal money transmitting business, drug abuse prevention and control prohibit acts A, attempt to evade or defeat tax, willful failure to collect or pay over tax, willful failure to file return, supply information, fraud and false statements, attempt to interfere with administration of tax laws. So today we're going to discuss what this means with the Marin County Sheriff's Office not being tax exempt. Some of this information might be a little redundant because we just did a video about the County Council in Marin County not being tax exempt. So basically, it's stated the public is thinking that, okay, this is the sheriff. They're a part of the political subdivision of the state. And we don't have to question that. But when you run it through the IRS, they're not coming back as a tax exempt entity. So what does that mean? On their transactions over $600, they're supposed to be issuing out 1099s. They're also supposed to be paying taxes on capital gains since they're not tax exempt. So this is a problem because it's stated by the Ronald Reagan, and I might cremate it a little bit, that the sheriff is the last help for the American people. And basically, if the sheriff doesn't help, then we're pretty much in trouble. So back to this video is that, you know, we respect and honor the sheriff. Then when we do this audit to see if they're tax exempt, it leaves a lot of us confused. And to the gentleman at Marin Confidential, why it's pertinent or important information is that they're not who they're claiming to be. And they hold us accountable for what we do, and they're strict about that, but they're not strict against themselves, meaning that they're enforcing codes and statutes, but not enforcing that in themselves, or they're above the law. So basically, with the tax status, that could put into question, are their daily operations faulty? And this could possibly trigger an audit, because where is this money going? If they have a similar CAFR account, which is a comprehensive annual financial review, that the counties try to show some transparency to their money transactions for the public to see, this becomes a problem, because a lot of the transactions they're making, they're not reporting that. And then that leads to kickbacks, payoffs, bribery schemes, money laundering. So the Marin Confidential, if you need confirmation of this process, you would contact the Marin County Sheriff's Office and ask them for a W-9. More than likely, they're not going to give you a W-9, but I'm not God to say what they're going to do. But when I asked them for one, they never filled it out. So that's already a red flag there, that they don't want to be implicated in tax fraud. And them being the sheriff, what do they have to hide? You know, they should be honorable, and it's stated like the lawyers have some kind of decorum to them. So they shouldn't have anything to hide regarding their tax exemption or their tax exempt status. I was going to also say that it's important, because it shows the corruption, and by us being the public, that we're not as aware as we think that we are, and we've relied and we've counted on some of these people and organizations, and this is a letdown. So it's stated in the other videos, there would have to be an audit done, and the IRS would have to figure this out, because this is something that just hasn't been happening overnight. This is generational. So you would think of generational wealth. This is a generational fraud. So when you do the paper trail and ask these people for their tax exempt documents, this should all be public. And this should be something that's readily available. But it's stated, if they're silent about that, they have something to hide. And this is very disturbing, because, as stated before, these people are upright and they're law enforcement, so they're held to a higher standard. And also, if they're evading taxes, what else are they doing? They're not properly bonded. They're not properly insured. There's an insurance policy umbrella one over the whole county. But the thing is with the sheriff is, they're dealing with people's property. They're dealing with homes. They're dealing with people's lives. They're doing escorts. They're taking care as a custodian or a fiduciary over their jails. And this tax exempt status brings a lot of light on the things that now become negative. So it's stated, if they're hiding the tax liability, what else are they hiding? You know, they have all these people that are housed in their county jail there. Do they have the right paperwork for that? Are they engaged with the securities with the court that's also not tax exempt, the Superior Court of California, Marin County? or also known as Marin County Superior Court. They're not tax exempt. The sheriff's not tax exempt. Um, what else is going on? They're not properly bonded. People's lives are in their hand. People's lives are at risk. A lot of people have possibly been hurt and killed, and you come to find out or tell me that Marin County Sheriff Office is not tax exempt. They're engaged in business and collecting monies for doing services like filing paperwork for fees. This might be minuscule or not minuscule, one or two here and there, but when it comes to the thousands, them not being tax exempt, they're evading the tax. They once as stated they're not tax exempt, then they would be liable for capital gains. So where is the paper trail for that? More than likely, it doesn't exist because it can't exist if they're not tax exempt and they have to be liable on the tax. They're doing other things, giving people's property, transferring it. Without this tax exemption, do they really have authority to do that? They're enforcing laws and they're not following it themselves. They're not being the best example of what they should be. And also, I wanted to say there's a lot of employees and staff that work for this entity, so they may not know this. This might be the first thing that they've heard. So again, if you want to repeat the process, ask the sheriff to complete a W-9. Run the W-9 by this entity here in the corner and ask about their tax exempt status, and this letter will come back. And it'll say that they're not a tax exempt organization. I have heard that their search and rescue team is tax exempt, but I haven't seen any paperwork, so I can't confirm that or deny it. So, any one of you hearing that possibly work for them, this is something that you could do to find out for yourself. So, I wouldn't put this information out if it wasn't true. But to reduplicate the process is a confirmation of it being true. And then this letter comes back to you, then you will have confirmation that this video and the accuracy of it is true. And also, the sheriff has been under a lot of scrutiny um, with the accountability or oversight committee, and people in the certain parts of Marin County have been fed up, so they need to do something about that. I also was going to say that this is disturbing information because you have the sheriff also doing security for the court. And whatever monetary thing that is, they're doing it. But I mean, these people knew that the staff of the court was forging documents. They didn't do anything. So these are the things that are a window to something that's bad and that's wrong that need to be fixed. So how can we follow the example of when you guys aren't following the example? And these are just things that I wanted to bring to the attention of the public. Let me just move this paper a little bit more. I also wanted to add that because of avoiding the tax liability and them not being properly bonded with indemnity bonds or surety bonds or marshal bonds, the person that is being accused or alleged or assume gets the harm without any recourse because these people are not liable. So that's also another issue, that there's no liability. And I'd like to thank you guys for listening, and check out the other videos. All right.